Hello otters and welcome back. It's been a very long time since I've recorded anything and published anything onto my channel. Like a whole week and a half, which really isn't that long, but it feels like a long time, so I'm not going to waste too much time today. I'm going to give you guys what you're here for, and we're going to dive into record number 5 of the Genwunners Are They Right files. If you are new to this series and you want to know what the criteria we're using, a little bit more about that, go to my very first video in the series. There is a link on the annotation on the screen and in the description to get there. But without further ado, let's take a look at this historical evidence we have for why Genwunners might not be as right about the details of the designs of Pokemon being better then than they are now. Sorry, I'm all tongue twisted. But based on what we've seen in the past, it looks like although the detailed or the designs of Generation 1 Pokemon seem to be more consistently in line with the criteria Genwunners give, all Pokemon, or Pokemon from all generations, tend to meet that criteria as much as they fail to meet that criteria. For this week we're going to look at 6 new Pokemon from each generation to see how they stack up and how adding them to our tally, what that gives us. So, our Generation 6 Pokemon is Sylveon, the intertwining Pokemon number 700, our first evolution to be featured on this show. We have a score of simple and toy-like from our unbiased party in anatomy. They asked, how does that look at all like ribbons, looking in the corner? And I said, well, does it look simple and toy-like or realistic as an animal as well? And they told me that it still just kind of looks toy-like. So his eyes make me kind of understand that. On the coloring, though, it was considered to be simple and blended, which I understand, with those lines between the different colors on Sylveon. Although they're hard cut, it's not too abrupt either. And the details are in both its colorfulness and its physical features, which makes sense to me as well, which gave Sylveon a score of 1.5, which is a strong score for a Generation 6 Pokemon. Emboar, the Mega Fire Pig Pokemon. Not just the Fire Pig, but the Mega Fire Pig Pokemon. So that means when Emboar gets a Mega Evolution, or if Emboar gets a Mega Evolution, it'll be the Mega Fire Pig. Number 500. His anatomy is mixed. There's things about it look detailed, realistic-like, that face, those legs, but it also kind of looks like a toy. His coloring, on the other hand, is very complex and very plastic. No real blending at all anywhere on Emboar. The details, on the other hand, definitely lie in its colorfulness, giving Emboar a low score for any Pokemon of only 0.5. Not quite a 0, but not much better either. Our Generation 4 representative is Hippopotas, the Hippo Pokemon. One of my favorites in as far as cute Pokemon go, number 449. In anatomy, Hippopotas is considered to be simple and toy-like. Its coloring is complex and plastic, which surprised me a little bit. I thought he'd be right in the middle for that, but hey, I'm biased. I think he's adorable. And his physical features, though, are where he gets marked for details, giving Hippopotas his only point, but a full point at that, a score of 1. Our Generation 3 representative is the legendary Pokemon Deoxys, DNA Pokemon, number 386. Deoxys is simple and toy-like. You're never going to see anything like that. It doesn't really look like anything. Its coloring is complex and plastic. There's really hardly any blending except for in the red. And that's not really blending, it's more shading. And its details, finally, for Deoxys are right in the middle, between physical features and colorfulness, being where it gets points, which gives Deoxys a really low score, which I'm sure is going to be disappointing to a lot of people, because a lot of people really love Deoxys, but that's too bad because he still only gets a score of 0.5. Hoppip is our Generation 2 representative and is the Cottonweed Pokemon, number 187. Hoppip is simple and toy-like. His coloring is simple and blended, but his details are all in its color, He has those vibrant colors to make him stand out, and there isn't much detail in the physical features, which at first I was surprised by, but I can understand because those leaves just look like a drawing. They aren't really detailed as a physical feature, just kind of right there. And so I get why its details are given points only in the colorfulness, giving Hoppip a score of 1, which isn't that great, but he's happy anyways. And finally, our Generation 1 representative, the Genwunners' pride and joy, is Tangela, the Divine Pokemon number 114. His anatomy is mixed between being realistic and being toy-like. The remark was, I don't even know what it is, but it looks like it's something. So there you go. It looks like something. Coloring is complex and plastic, which I get. Those shoes. Why is it wearing shoes if it's an animal? And finally, its details are definitely within its physical features. There's a lot of vines that intertwine nicely. That is definitely a detailed Pokemon, which gives Tangela a score of 1.5, which is alright, but is actually, if I remember correctly, our lowest score for any Generation 1 Pokemon, to the dismay of any Genwunners. And now when we add these to our tally page, we see that I was right. That as the first Pokemon from Generation 1 to score below a 2 in any of our records so far and on this 5th record. But all the scores this time were below 2. There was no high scorers. So we're starting to see that the spread, although generally is decreasing, is pretty mixed. Pokemon of all generations get good scores and bad scores. And that's just how it is. The designs might have gone down a little bit, but overall they're fairly consistent. And if you're looking at this right now, you could say that they didn't really start to go downhill until Generation 5. Or maybe even Generation 6, the most recent generation. It'll be really interesting when we look at Generation 7 Pokemon as well, once those games are released. So, there you have it. That is what we got for record number 5. Let me know if you agree or disagree with our unbiased party in the comments below. For the most part, this time I agree, but just not 100%. I'm excited to get more results because this is really starting to look like a mess. And if it really ends up being a mess, that means Genwunners don't have a valid argument. The designs of Pokemon are just as good today, or just as bad today, as they ever were, depending on your perspective and how you want to phrase that. But once again, I'm Kai the Otter. If you want to learn more about me, click on the otter on your screen. If you want to watch one of my other series, you can click on the other icon on the screen, where I'm playing a game with Lin Shi, my wife, and we'll probably have a new episode. We'll definitely have a new episode of that next week. I've enjoyed making this video for you guys to watch. I hope you've enjoyed it too. Please comment below, leave a like, subscribe if you're new. We're going to have fun. Thanks again, play hard, and train on.